Let's do a thought experiment. Let's imagine that you are a member of a brass band. You play the trumpet. And every Saturday you rehearse with your brass band, and every Saturday at brass band rehearsal, you get lunch. You have an arrangement with a local sandwich shop. Now, their customer service isn't very good. So they will make 20 sandwiches for you, but they won't make 20 kinds of sandwich. You've all got to have the same lunch. So every week your brass band takes a vote on what kind of sandwiches you're going to have for lunch. There's two main factions. There's the ham people and the cheese people. And you have a slight preference for cheese, but actually you're a tuna person? You'd rather have tuna. There's a couple of other tuna people, really hardcore supporters of the tuna platform, but the three of you are never going to sway the vote. You can try to recruit people to your cause. You've been trying. You can't persuade them away from ham and cheese in sufficient numbers to actually win the vote for tuna. And when you reduce this question down to the very small stakes of lunch at brass band rehearsal, it's pretty easy to see what a vote actually is. It's not an expression of your preference. You're a hardcore tuna supporter. You would always prefer the tuna. But this vote isn't an attempt to register your preference. It's not just for information. It's an attempt to make something happen. It's going to determine what you get for lunch today. You might not like the way your fellow brass band members are going to vote, but being a fairly rational person, you know they can be expected to vote the way that they usually vote and the way they've said they're going to vote. You can't get tuna for lunch. There's just not enough of you. But if you vote for cheese, you've got a decent chance of making sure you get cheese for lunch instead of the ham that you don't really like. A vote isn't an expression of your ideology. A vote is a pebble on the scales. It's an attempt to make something happen, to affect an outcome. And the only smart thing to do in that circumstance is to take account of all the other people who will also be voting and make a choice based on what you can meaningfully affect. You can't get them all to vote tuna. You can tip the scales towards cheese. We'd all like to think that there was something ideologically pure about our vote, that we could vote for the right people and nothing bad would come of it, but that's not how it is. The choice before you isn't just a ballot paper. It's a whole embedded in the world situation where thousands of other people are also voting, and if you won't take into account how they're likely to vote, you are going to be less effective at changing the world than you could be.